Good morning or afternoon, depending on where you are, and welcome to another episode of What Does This Button Do? An educational show about smartphones and tablets with the Geeks on Tour. Today we have Judy McDowell with us, and she has some really cool stuff that she's been doing. How you doing, Judy?
I'm fine, and I thought what I'd like to do, you usually ask me where I am, and I am in Illinois. I'm in a small town, but part of the larger metropolis known as the Quad Cities, and so I would like to show you how far apart we really are. So here's my screen share.
Oh, cool.
And we are about 1,900 miles or 29 hours apart. So I won't be there anytime soon, but I'm glad to be here to help you with the comments.
Well, you missed an earthquake overnight. We had an earthquake about 70 miles down the road. It was pretty interesting that it shook us about 3:20 in the morning, and I thought Chris had just gotten up or something, and I reached over there, and she was still there. But I'm Jim, and with my wife, Chris, we're the Geeks on Tour. Do you think your smartphone is smarter than you? Do you have questions about your Android or iPad tablet? And how do you learn about these amazing devices? Well, we're the geeks who teach, and we're into lifelong learning and helping others learn this technology along the way. Chris, how you doing?
Oh, I'm not really doing all that great right here. I'm still trying to connect my second device, just when we think we have this all figured out. But so go ahead and show them. There's a couple pictures in there of where we are and how everything is so cool here other than earthquakes. And I'm still working on it. I'll get there.
Okay, well, we're going to try and be organized about this show and keep it to about a half an hour. We'll have a beginner's lesson if Chris gets her stuff together with something that's important for beginners to know about their phones. We'll do iPads and Androids, and I'll do an app of the week and a random tip. We'll have questions. If you have questions and you're on here live, you can put them in the comments below, and either on the YouTube or the Google Plus, and we'll try to get them into the live show. We also record this show, and it's available for viewing later on, so stay tuned. Our website, geeksontour.com, includes several hundred videos, tutorial videos, and all the subjects that we teach. Let's see.
You might have to do your app of the week first. I'm still not.
Okay. Well, it's a problem. Sometimes you just gotta laugh. I can't get any Wi-Fi on this thing. All right. So last week we were on the road from Oregon, and we looked at the map, and it was Crater Lake was right on our trip, so we decided that we could stop by there and maybe see this beautiful lake. That's Wizard Island in the middle there, and the colors are the sky, it's just beautiful. And then we went through the redwoods and came down, so this informational show is turning into a travel log very quickly. But here we are. This is our rig in Cloverdale, California. And if you look at the map there on the left, and some of those stars, it was just below Santa Rosa, in between Santa Rosa and San Francisco, that the epicenter of that quake was. So that was really kind of interesting. And not to minimize any of the damage down there, so far I haven't heard any reports of injuries, but there was some damage down there, and a lot of wine bottles hit the floor, and that really upsets Chris when
that's a problem.
Yeah, okay. So I guess I'll do my app of the week. How's that sound? We'll do that.
Okay.
Okay. So My app of the week this week is Where Am I? Have you ever wondered what postal code or county boundaries you're in, or what the local area code is on the telephone? You see these telephone numbers and people are just used to putting 7 digits there and you don't know what area code they're in. So the Where Am I app for Android answers those questions and provides other useful information as well. You get city, zip code, phone area code, a rough street address, the sunrise and sunset times, and your GPS latitude and longitude. You can share your location by email or SMS or send it with any other app on your phone that supports sending data, like Facebook. There's a continuous updates mode to see the street numbers and other data as you move around, and it'll even leave breadcrumb trails on the map. You can tap a location on the map to open Google Maps full screen. It's a free app and it's supported by voluntary donations and advertisements. You just tap on the donations to remove the ads. This app is not available on the iOS or the Apple devices, the iPads and the iPhones, but there is one. It's called Where Am I At? It's an app for the iOS devices. It doesn't have as many features, but it's still pretty useful. So here I have some screenshots, and I'll show those. Okay. So on the left there is the screenshot from it's a Samsung Note 3 Android device, and it shows where we are, very close, and it'll even talk to us. Let's see if I can get that for you. Whoops, sorry about that. A little faster, if you will, please. And
you are within 10,450 feet of Cloverdale, California, 95,425.
And we're in Sonoma County. The area code for telephones is 707. The sunset tonight will be at 7:55 in 9 hours and 50 minutes. Or at least when I took that. Sounds like you have some feedback coming on, Chris. Why don't you mute while you're there? These other screenshots here on the screen are from the iOS, the Apple, or the iPhone on the left and the iPad on the right, and you can see these are approximate addresses and altitudes, and you can share with those. So that's pretty cool stuff. All right. Let's see. Chris is almost on her way. Okay. Judy, do you have any news for us while we're waiting?
Well, there is a question here about basically about Picasa. I'm not sure if Chris is so busy if she'll have time, but here's the question.
Go ahead. I have a Samsung Galaxy S4 and would like my pictures to automatically go to Picasa on my computer. Is this possible? And if so, how? Chris?
Oh, okay. I'll take that. We do have videos for it on our website, the membership. The way I do it, the way we recommend, is using Dropbox. So we take a picture with our smartphone or iPad, and as long as it's connected to the internet and our computer's connected to the internet, we are instantly have our picture on our computer.
Okay. Now, understand that when you put a picture, it does not go into Picasa. It goes onto your computer. Picasa is your tool for managing the pictures that are on your computer.
Okay, I think I'm ready now for the beginner's lesson on cameras.
Yeah, go right ahead. Jump in.
Okay. So let's see here. Yeah, we always like to start this with a beginner's lesson because I think beginners get left out in all the smartphone stuff with all the bells and whistles people like to show. They forget about the beginners. So we do not want to forget about the beginners. And I like to start with the iPad. And this lesson is just about the camera basics. So I'm starting with the iPad, and I tap the camera app. And the way you take a picture, and here I've set up my little my little still life here. So you take a picture just by tapping the shutter button. Then you can look at the picture by, you see a little thumbnail in the lower right-hand corner, and you tap that, and that's how you see the picture you just took. Then if you want to take another picture, you tell it, done. Now, I love selfies. I just don't know what I ever did without the ability to turn the camera on myself. What you do is you find the little icon that looks like two circular arrows. And what that does is just switch from the rear-facing lens to the front-facing lens. Hi. And then same thing. You just tap the shutter button to take a picture. You can look at the picture by tapping at the little icon in the lower right, and you can go back to the camera by tapping done. Now, one thing to be aware of is know where the lenses are on your camera. So, for example, if I accidentally held the iPad like this, I'm covering up that front-facing lens because it's right there. Another thing to be aware of is where that lens is. You want to keep it clean. So if you ever see that your pictures are getting really fuzzy and foggy, make sure to clean the lens. So same thing on the back. Notice that this one is in the corner. Can you see? Can you see that? Yeah, there's the lens on the back. So these things become very important when you change the way you're holding it. So how do you hold? Most people tend to hold their phones like a phone at all times. But realize when you're using this as a camera, how do you hold a camera? You usually hold a camera horizontal. Well, I think that's how you should hold your phone or your tablet, and I like it with the home button over on the right. Now, maybe that's because I'm left-handed. I mean, maybe, yeah, right. Yeah, Jim's left-handed. Maybe that's because I'm right-handed. I don't know. Jim, do you like to hold your device with the button at the left?
I usually do hold it with the button to the left.
Oh, really? Huh, so it is kind of a right-handed, left-handed thing. But take a look at this. I am really covering up the lens. Why? Because it's in a corner. Now it's in the lower right corner, which is just not where I would expect the lens to be. Okay, so I say hold it horizontal and with the button to the right. Now, you can also take video. On the iPad, iPhone, you see this little word called video, but tapping on it doesn't do anything. What it is, it's a slider. So you slide the screen until that word video is selected. So that's photo, that's square, which does just what it says. So back to photo, back to video. And now your shutter button is the turn recording on button. And let's have some action here. Whee!
You're having too much fun.
Yeah, and it's recording. I know it's recording because of the red square. So I tap it again to stop recording. And once again, if you want to see the picture or the video, you tap on the little thumbnail, and then you click play. Let's have some action here. Yeah. All right. Now notice it's also getting sound. So where does that come from? That comes from your microphone. And in some devices, especially the iPads, the microphone is just a tiny little pinhole over on the side very easy to be covered up. So try to find that on your device and practice with it. Practice covering it up and uncovering it and seeing if you hear sound and sound goes away. That can be very important. Now, yours might have more options. So, for example, if I'm back on photo, we have this option up here for HDR. I love HDR. We did a whole, I think episode 6, we did a major section on HDR. So go watch that. There's a lot to know, but just to turn it on, you just do that. On the iPad, you can just tap to change the exposure. So can you see that? When I tap on the outside, everything inside goes dark. When I tap on the inside, it lightens up and the outside goes light. And am I out of time?
Yeah, it looks good. No,
okay. I have time for one more thing, and that is settings. You might have more settings on yours. Explore them. One setting that I think everybody should know about is location data. So the pictures you take can be geo-tagged. They can have the latitude and longitude stored right with them. If and you can turn that on or off. On the iPad, that setting is in your main settings. So settings, and it's under privacy, and it's location services. So if you want it on, there's two things. First, location services must be on, but then within location services, you can turn different things on and off. So you might want to not let Facebook know where you are, for example, but you do want your camera to know where you are. I like everything to know where I am because I never know where I am. I'll now use that little app that Jim showed. Where am I? All right, that's it for the iPad. Now I want to show you on the Android the same things. So on the Android, step 1, of course, is you need to just open your camera app. I have mine right front and center there. And how did I say to hold it? Not this way. I think a camera should be held this way. And then make sure that you're not covering up the lens. So where is the lens? On this one, it's nice right in the middle on that end.
Don't touch it.
I don't want fingerprints all over it, huh? And that's how you take a picture. And to look at the picture, tap the little thumbnail. Now I'm looking at the picture, and I can delete it if I want by tapping the trash can. There was a trash can on the iPad one too. Now to get back, you tap the little back button on the Android. Now mine works a little bit differently with the video. On the iPad, you went into camera mode, and it's voice activated. So I am now taking video just because I said the word video. And we have a dancing apple. Okay, so I stop it. So how is that different? On lots of phones, you are in either camera mode or video mode, and then you start and stop. On this one, which is the Samsung Galaxy S5, video mode, I either take a picture, I just took a picture, or I start taking video. And it is recording. Do you see that little REC in the upper left-hand corner telling me that I am recording? Then I can either pause it or stop it. That took a little bit to get used to. I thought I was just putting it into video mode, and then I would do start and stop, but just tapping the video, and it starts taking the video. And then I had to stop it. You can view videos by tapping the little icon in the lower right, and as I'm going to do with this one, you can erase it by tapping the trash can. And OK. Then back to camera. And how do I take a selfie? So you just need to look at all the icons on the screen and find one that has two arrows, which mean, and on this one, it's in the upper left-hand corner. Tap it, and it switches to the front-facing camera, which on mine is in this upper left-hand corner, which is very difficult for me to keep my finger away from. So you need to understand where your lenses are. And one thing I really like on the Samsung is the voice activation. So when you're doing a selfie, sometimes it's hard to get your finger to tap a picture. So I can just say, smile. And of course now it doesn't work. Smile.
There it went.
and it took the picture. And we covered that in one of the earlier episodes also. So how do I switch back to the rear-facing camera? Is that one. Okay, so front-facing, rear-facing. Now, when I touch the screen...
Yak, yak, yak.
When I touch the screen in the Android, on this one, it does not change the exposure. It does change the focus. So if I bring her in close...
You need to move over a little bit more. I can't see it.
Okay, thank you. If I tap the trees outside, I am now focused on the trees outside. If I tap my little statue here, now she's in focus and the trees are out of focus. But it doesn't change the exposure. On this one, to change the exposure, I have to tap the little exposure button and then slide it up or down. And last is the Geo-Tagging. Now, on the Android, the settings for the camera are right with the camera. So that little gear right there for settings. And location, location tags is what it's called on this one. I like my pictures to know where they were taken, so I keep location tags on. All right. So that is the basics of cameras. My, there's so much more, especially in these Samsungs. Play with your different modes. Play with all the settings there are. And have fun. You can always delete them. So that is our beginning lesson on cameras, and there are other videos on our website on them as well. Back to you, Jim.
Okay, that's great. I think we're ready for some questions from viewers. And let me see if I can get that going real quick here. Maybe not.
Oops.
Well,
somebody, yeah.
Here's one, Jim.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see. Where is the trash can on the Samsung 4 when wanting to delete a picture?
Well, let me show you on the 5. We don't have a 4, but I'll betcha it's in similar locations. So when I'm not in camera mode, I can go to my gallery to see all my pictures. I think the key that you're looking for is you have to be on a picture and you have to tap it. Notice right now I'm looking at this picture and I don't see any icons. But if I tap it, icons appear and there is the trash can on this. Now, if yours does not have a trash can, then look for a menu. These 3 dots is a menu, and maybe you have a delete on there. Or maybe somebody else in the audience has an S4 and can answer that for sure.
Okay. I see another question here that asks which Where Am I app that I use, because there are a couple of them out there. This is there's a screen share of the screen that I'm on. The Where Am I app that I use is from EJELTA LLC. eGelta LLC, and that's the tool that I use. So, anyhow. Other questions out there? Judy, do you have any out there?
No, those were the two that I had.
Okay.
You had some written down, Jim.
Yeah, let me find them now. I'll put them up on the screen for us, if I can do that. And there. Okay. So when I enter a Safeway store, I get logged into their Wi-Fi router automatically unless I click to forget that connection. That disables my cellular data, but I still need to log into their Wi-Fi provider. Unless I log in, I find myself without any internet. So what do you think about that?
Well, who knows for sure, but I think what he's talking about is that when you first connect to a public Wi-Fi hotspot, you very likely need one more step. You have to just agree to their terms of service, and it should automatically take you there, but if it doesn't, it means you have to go to a browser, and that will take you to the place where you have to click a little button to say, I agree to your terms of service before I start using it.
Okay. So how can I turn off Google Voice to use the phone instead of Google Voice?
Now, I'm not sure I understand that question. Do you, Jim?
Might have something to do with application defaults.
Well, just because we don't understand the question doesn't mean that we can't come up with an answer.
No, we'll make something up too. So application defaults are in your settings, and I found an app that is Reset Application Defaults, and it's just Reset Application Defaults app. And maybe that would be something that will reset all your apps to defaults, and then you can go in and individually choose which default app opens when you open up an app. Remember, the phone on these smartphones is just another application. It's just an app. So the phone app, when you try and make a phone call, will use whatever devices that or whatever services that are available. And if you have Google Voice installed and you have made that your default app for your phone, then that'll come up. And if you reset it, then you can use just the phone app instead of the voice app. I hope that answers your question.
Well, I can show the one thing on the Android here, if you want.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you go into Settings and Applications, this one here says Default Application. So that means what application is going to be run for any particular process. And it will tell you which applications have some defaults. So phone, for example, it says that this app is set to open by default for some actions. So my guess is the person who asked this question, if they went in here, they would see Google Voice as one of the applications that has defaults. You can clear the defaults, and then next time you go to use the phone, it will ask you, do you want to use this app or do you want to use that app?
Okay, cool. And while you're in there, how do I know what icons are on top of the screen? Words go by too quickly, so I think if you show the drop-down notifications.
Okay, yeah, I think they're just talking about this bar up here, which is called the notification bar. And see, something just went by, but now it's gone. How do I see that? You drag down, and now each icon that was showing up at the top should be listed with what's going on. So if I want to see what those 5 new messages are, I can tap on it. Or if I say I don't want to look at it now, I can just swipe it off. And pretty much the same thing on the iPad.
Okay, but why doesn't my screen rotate like it's supposed to?
Aha! Oh, I like that one. Why doesn't my screen rotate? There's a setting for that. There's a setting for
There's
that.
always a setting for that.
And it's called screen rotation. Here on my Samsung Galaxy S5, I see it right on the top shortcuts. So what we're talking about is when you hold it sideways, it's supposed to rotate. And some things just don't do it. Let's just go to somewhere, and it's not rotating. So I must already have that. That's the screen rotation lock. Now it should, when I go to something else.
I think you broke it.
I broke it.
Well.
All right. Well, wait a second. let me go to the iPad and show you on that. So I'm looking at maps, and when I hold it horizontally, the map should look horizontal. I apparently don't have a very good internet connection at the moment. We're lucky that
you
this
might be
show is
dropping
going.
off. Oh. Okay.
All right, so see how that rotated? That did rotate. Now if I say that's irritating, I want it to stay in landscape, I can pull up the control center from the bottom, choose the rotation lock icon, which is that last one right there, and now it will not rotate.
Okay.
And that was supposed to do the same thing on the Android.
And it does when you're not live. Okay, looks like we have another question here. With the Samsung, how do you take one picture quickly after another, like when watching grandkids in a game?
Okay, that is, I would consider not a basic camera thing, but it is a setting, and I can show you. There are a couple different ways. On mine, on the Samsung Galaxy S5, in the camera app, it's one of the settings, and it's called burst shots. If I have burst shots on, then it says touch and hold the camera button to take burst shots. Burst shots will always be saved to the device memory. So now, as long as I hold down, it just took 9 pictures.
Wow, that'll use up your data plan if you're uploading things, or it might fill up your camera card too. So
now, on previous versions, there was a setting called action mode or something like that. In the modes, there was an action mode.
Okay.
And I think it's the same on the iPad. Hold down on the button, and it takes multiple shots.
Okay. Well, thanks for the questions. It's about time to wrap this thing up. So did you learn something? I know I learn something every time we do it. And we have some but we have some review questions. How do you get an iPhone, iPad to take a video? Chris?
Well, we put that because people do have problems with it to start with. You cannot just tap where it says hide the screen until video is selected. Then you can start taking the video by pressing the red button and stop it by pressing the same button.
Okay. What is a selfie? Judy, do you know what that is?
I do. It's when you choose a selection on your camera phone to include yourself in a picture.
Okay, great.
It's my favorite kind of pictures.
How do you turn on or off the setting for geotagging your photos, Chris?
Okay, so that's different whether you're on an Apple device or on an Android device. On the Apple device, it is a device settings under privacy and location services, and then for the camera. On Android, it is a setting in the camera app to say add location tags. Sometimes it's called Geo-Tags.
Okay,
and you
cool.
turn it on or off.
And one more. What is the name of the app that can tell you the county name at your current location? I think that one's for me.
I think so.
It's called Where Am I for the Android. And there's another one that says Where Am I At app for the iPhone, iPad. Now, to learn more, you can become a member at geeksontour.com. Just click for tutorial videos and you'll get there. It is a wonderful tool to have, and we appreciate you guys.
Oh, and I really want to make sure people realize that all of these episodes of What Does This Button Do are available on our website. If you just go to geeksontour.com and click on the menu item for weekly show, you will see the listing, including a little description of what each episode was and a link. Anybody can watch the recorded videos on YouTube. If you are a member, you will get a screen that includes some documentation with time links, so you can watch just the parts that you want.
Cool. All right. Let's see. Next week, I think we have a beginner's lesson. I'm not sure what Chris is going to do.
I didn't write that down. I think I decided. David Cross asked us if we would do something on using the calendar.
Oh, the calendar's a good one, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna do that, but realize it will be the Google Calendar because that works across all platforms. I don't want to deal with the different calendaring. So calendars next time.
Okay, we'll also do a My App of the Week. We'll get to your questions. If you put them in the comments, watch for the notification for next week's show, and make sure to click that you're coming. That would really be nice.
And if we didn't get to your comment or question while we're live on the air, if you wrote it along with the event, we'll still answer it during the week.
Okay, and thanks to Judy McDowell for being a comment wrangler for us and joining our show. We always enjoy having you here. Thanks so much, Judy.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so that's it for this week on Geeks on Tour. We hope to see you next week for What Does This Button Do? And just what does this button do, I wonder?